Hi, I'm Irene Tansman, author of Abby and Arlene's Autism War. If you have a loved one enrolled in a rehabilitation facility, or you are considering rehabilitation for your loved one with autism and/or IDD, or you yourself are enrolled in a rehabilitation facility in Massachusetts, please consider joining the Rehabilitation Families in Massachusetts Facebook group. Today I'd like to talk to you about a difficult and complex topic: seclusion and restraint in programs for the developmentally disabled population. In this video, I will explain why, even though restraint and seclusion is undeniably being misused on a large scale and is undeniably harmful, it might be wise to scrutinize and maybe even avoid programs that say they have been successful banning these practices. First, let's explore the question: is the use of restraint and seclusion inhumane? My opinion, and that's just one person's opinion, is that the way restraint and seclusion is currently practiced in public schools, private specialty schools, and adult programs for the developmentally disabled in Massachusetts is inhumane. But it's not only inhumane for the individuals with the developmental disabilities, it's also inhumane for the folks working with the individuals who may be putting themselves in danger during one of these procedures. The folks working with the individuals may get hit or bitten or may end up in trouble with the law if one of these procedures goes awry. Seclusion and restraint should be emergency procedures, and it should never be used as a treatment for maladaptive behaviors or disruptions. And yet, I see and hear about this being used as a treatment all the time. If you look at the data for students under age 22 in Massachusetts, it's obvious that these procedures are not being used as rare crisis procedures. That is why I made a point of writing about seclusion and restraint in my book, Abby and Arlene's Autism War. I will place a link to the data for Massachusetts in the YouTube description below, so you can see how widespread the problem is for students in Massachusetts. Sometimes people, because I usually post my video in many places. In order to see the YouTube description, you have to actually watch the YouTube on the YouTube site. So that's where the description was going to be, is below the video on the YouTube site. Also the link that I'm giving you, it just includes students, not the Department of Developmental Services population. So if you look at this data very carefully, you'll notice that the same students are being restrained over and over again. It's obvious from what you'll see. Seclusion and restraint is scary and traumatizing for both the individual and for the person delivering the treatment. It resolves the incident for the time being, but may cause more problems down the road. Seclusion and restraint has been known to exacerbate maladaptive behaviors. Often the parents aren't notified that such an incident even occurred. These procedures should not be the first line of treatment. Instead, they should be the last resort, emergency and crisis intervention that's rarely used. But give me a break. We know they aren't being used like that in both the children and adult systems in Massachusetts. So why am I leery of programs that have claimed success with banning these procedures? Shouldn't I be endorsing these programs and celebrating their efforts to get rid of these harmful procedures that make problems worse and worse? I don't, because of what I've seen and heard about what goes on when these procedures are banned. So, number one, the programs that ban restraint and seclusion avoid admitting individuals at risk for maladaptive behaviors into their programs. They just refuse to take them. This is great for the program, but not so great for the families with a loved one with no place to go. Number two, some of these programs don't restrain or remove an individual from the group no matter what. That means if your loved one is in the wrong place at the wrong time and a peer attacks them, the staff does nothing. It's possible that the staff might plead with the individual to stop or possibly try to get your child away from the attacker, but no restraints means no restraints. Your child, who may be an innocent bystander, may become injured by having such a ban. Number three, if an individual is having self-injurious behavior, the staff may simply ignore it. No restraints. An individual may be crashing his head into a brick wall, causing himself brain damage, and they do nothing because no restraints. Now, my fourth point regarding about what happens when a program claims they ban restraints and seclusion is something I worry about, but I haven't yet heard a story that this has happened. So here goes. Number four, programs that use restraint and seclusion usually have training for staff on how to do these procedures without causing physical harm. Mind you, no training can prevent the psychological harm. In programs that ban these practices, staff may try to address a crisis on their own without having received any training, and a tragedy could result from an untrained staff attempting to do a makeshift restraint procedure. As I said, I haven't heard of this, but it's a fear that I have. So I would be leery about a program that says they never restrain or remove someone from the group. I would want to know, what do they do instead when a situation occurs? So what is the answer? How could this situation improve? Well, there must be real planning and programming to help individuals who present with maladaptive behaviors. When a learner presents with these behaviors, usually providers in schools, they think about rewarding the learner for not engaging the behavior or punishing the learner for engaging in the behavior. Years and years could go by. Parents might hear that their child's behaviors are caused by frustration from not being able to communicate, but there may be little or no effort to teach the individual to improve communication. Instead, there are rewards for not doing the behavior, punishments, and restraints and seclusion. It's time for programs to look at what might help learners gain adaptive skills they need so that the maladaptive behavior becomes superfluous. The programs could teach these adaptive skills. They could also consider medical causes of behavior, look at possible sensory overload, address trauma, and explore medical intervention. There are ways to make this better, but it's just not being done. I advise families to advocate for goals and objectives based on the essential 8 skills in Patrick McGreevy's Essential for Living curriculum. When individuals do not have these 8 essential skills, they are at greater risk for developing maladaptive behaviors, the kind of behaviors that may put them in a situation where they could be restrained or secluded. I have listed these essential skills on my website. I hope you visit my website. I hope my video has been helpful to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.